this is arguably the most helpless moment for Thor. First, he watches Heimdall die right before his eyes, and then, he helplessly watches his brother Loki have his neck snapped by Thanos. Standing before him is none other than Thanos, the supreme ruler of the galaxy. At the end of Thor, Ragnarok, after Asgard is destroyed, Thor leads the survivors to Earth. However, on their way, they encounter Thanos' spaceship. In the face of overwhelming power, Thanos slaughters Asgard's citizens, and even though Thor has awakened his thunder power, he is no match for Thanos. Previously, Thanos had wiped out the planet Xander and took the Power Stone from Star-Lord. Now, Thanos uses Thor's life as leverage to force Loki to hand over the Tesseract. Loki pretends to be indifferent at first, but when he sees Thor's life hanging by a thread, he finally can't bear it and hands over the Tesseract. Thanos, expecting Loki to comply, is taken by surprise when Loki suddenly shouts, "Hulk!" Suddenly, Hulk bursts from behind Thanos and unleashes a devastating combo that catches Thanos off guard. Hulk grabs Thanos by the neck, slamming him against the wall repeatedly. Just as Obsidian steps forward to help, he's stopped by Ebony Maw. But soon after, Thanos beats Hulk into submission, and Hulk is too scared to transform again. Things are looking grim now. Even their last trump card, Hulk, has been defeated. Thor swings a metal rod at Thanos' head, but he seriously underestimates Thanos' defense, and Thanos kicks him away effortlessly. Seeing that Thor is still trying to fight, Ebony Maw quickly uses magic to trap him. At this moment, Heimdall uses the last of his strength to perform dark magic, teleporting Hulk away. This enrages Thanos, and he kills Heimdall on the spot. The mighty Guardian falls. Thor can only watch in helpless despair. Next, Ebony Maw respectfully hands over the Tesseract. Thanos crushes the cube, revealing that it contains the Space Stone. He then places the Space Stone into the Infinity Gauntlet. Having obtained 2 stones, Thanos sends the Black Order to Earth to retrieve the Time Stone from Doctor Strange and the Mind Stone from Vision. Meanwhile, he heads to the desolate planet to seize the Reality Stone from the Collector. At this point, Loki steps forward, claiming he knows the way to Earth and can guide them there. As Loki moves closer to Thanos, he pretends to submit, but then suddenly attacks Thanos. However, Thanos uses the power of the stones to freeze him in place. Thanos looks at Loki with contempt, grabs him by the throat, and lifts him up. And so, Loki is killed by Thanos. Thanos then uses the power of the stones to destroy the place before departing. Thor can only weep, holding Loki's lifeless body in his arms. Meanwhile, Doctor Strange is about to go out for dinner with Wong when a blinding light falls from the sky. They rush over to investigate. It turns out to be Hulk, who has been teleported there. At this point, Hulk has turned back into Bruce. Elsewhere, Tony and Pepper are enjoying some quiet time together when Steven and Bruce suddenly appear through a portal. Wong explains to them about the Infinity Stones, revealing that there are 6 in total, and if Thanos collects them all, he could snap his fingers and erase half of all life in the universe. Bruce informs everyone that Thanos already has 2 stones. Tony shrugs it off, saying it's simple, just destroy the Time Stone on Doctor Strange. But Doctor Strange and Wong both vow to protect the Time Stone with their lives. If that's the case, they'll have to destroy Vision's Mind Stone. Tony then reveals that Vision cut off all communications half a month ago, and no one has been able to reach him since. The only person who might still be able to contact him is Captain America. But Bruce doesn't know that Tony and Captain America have completely fallen out, and the Avengers are all but disbanded. Bruce was desperate. Are you seriously still fighting at a time like this? Thanos is coming, and if we don't unite, Earth is done for. After some hesitation, Tony pulls out the phone Captain America had sent him, but before he can dial, he notices something odd. They rush outside, and the city was already in chaos, as if the apocalypse had arrived. Meanwhile, Peter senses danger through his spider sense and rushes toward the source. At that moment, Thanos' minions, Obsidian and Ebony Maw, arrive on Earth. Seeing the imminent threat, Doctor Strange immediately summons a shield with both hands. Preparing for battle, Tony urges Bruce to transform into Hulk, but no matter how hard Bruce tries, Hulk refuses to appear. As Obsidian charged toward them, Tony activated the transformation mechanism on his suit. It was Tony's moment to shine. Facing the charging Obsidian, Tony blocks a heavy blow with one hand. then lands a left hook before deploying 4 powerful arc-shaped laser cannons from his back that send Cull Obsidian flying. Bruce watches in awe at Tony's moves. Just as Tony is about to enjoy his victory, Ebony Maw uses his magic to send Tony soaring into the air. Ebony Maw cast another spell to attack, but Wong quickly reinforced the shield to defend. Seeing that Bruce is of no help, Doctor Strange opens a portal to teleport him away. Bruce tries again to summon Hulk, but whether he's scared from Thanos' earlier attack or Hulk simply doesn't want to come out, he's just not appearing. Meanwhile, Tony is locked in an intense fight with Cull Obsidian when he's struck hard and crashes to the ground. At the crucial moment, Spider-Man arrives, but even together, they can't defeat Cull Obsidian. Elsewhere, Ebony Maw elegantly unleashes his power, turning bricks into deadly projectiles aimed at Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange uses his portals to bounce the bricks back, but Ebony Maw grabs a car to block the attack, only to get hit in the face. Doctor Strange then lashes out with a lightning whip, ensnaring Ebony Maw and pulling him closer. Ebony Maw uses his own power to trap Doctor Strange against a wall. As Ebony Maw reaches for the stone, his hand is burned by the power of the gem. This enrages Ebony Maw, who slams Doctor Strange into the ground. Doctor Strange tries to cast a counterattack but is bound by Ebony Maw's magic. Unable to break free, Ebony Maw then plans to take Doctor Strange back to study him, but at the last second, the Cloak of Levitation saves Doctor Strange. Meanwhile, Tony and Spider-Man are still struggling with Cull Obsidian. Seeing Doctor Strange in trouble, Tony tells Peter to go help. Ebony Maw catches up and traps the cloak, but Spider-Man shoots webs to rescue Doctor Strange. Just then, Doctor Strange is sucked up into the spaceship by a powerful force, and Spider-Man follows, calling out to Tony for help, but Tony is stuck, unable to move because Cull Obsidian's weapon has him trapped. Just as Cull Obsidian was about to deliver a fatal blow to Tony, a portal suddenly opened, and Cull Obsidian was teleported to a frozen wasteland. Realizing what has happened, Cull Obsidian attempts to return, but Wong intercepts him and cuts off his arm. Tony takes flight and heads toward the ship to rescue Peter. Ebony Maw's spaceship continues to climb higher, and Tony orders Friday to activate the nanosuit. At this point, Peter is suffocating and losing strength as he starts to fall, but Tony's nanosuit arrives just in time to save him. The new Spider-Man suit is incredibly powerful, featuring an integrated oxygen supply system to keep Peter safe. Tony orders Friday to send him home, while he quietly sneaks into the spaceship to rescue Doctor Strange. However, Tony doesn't realize that Peter, using his webs, has latched onto the ship and hasn't left. At this moment, on Earth, Bruce picks up Tony's phone and finally gets through to Captain America. Elsewhere, Vision, who had been missing, is walking down the street with Wanda, now in a romantic relationship, but suddenly, a sharp blade pierces Vision's body. The attacker is Corvus Glaive. Seeing her lover gravely injured, Wanda immediately uses her magic to fight back, but she's ambushed by Proxima Midnight from behind. Corvus Glaive tries to rip the Mind Stone from Vision's forehead. Unable to bear it, Wanda casts a spell to interrupt them. She then quickly takes Vision and flees the scene. At this point, Vision's systems have been damaged by Corvus Glaive, leaving him completely powerless. Wanda has no choice but to flee with the gravely injured Vision. However, they are struck by an energy blast from Proxima Midnight. Crashing hard onto the ground, Vision urges Wanda to leave him behind and escape. However, Proxima Midnight and Corvus Glaive quickly catch up, and with Thanos' 2 top lieutenants closing in, Wanda has no choice but to stand and fight. Suddenly, Proxima Midnight senses something. Wanda looks behind her, faintly seeing a figure. Proxima Midnight hurls her weapon, but it's effortlessly caught with one hand. It's Captain America. Vision and Wanda are filled with relief upon seeing Captain America. At the same moment, Falcon swoops down, kicking Proxima Midnight to the ground. Captain America throws his weapon, and Natasha catches it, charging toward Corvus Glaive. In a stunning display of martial arts, she lands a brutal strike on Corvus Glaive, severely injuring him. No one expected Natasha, a mere mortal, to defeat Thanos' top general. Just as Natasha is about to finish him off, Proxima Midnight disarms her, but Captain America intervenes just in time to block her attack. With their combined efforts, Proxima Midnight is quickly defeated.
We don't want to kill you, but we will.
You'll never get the chance again.
She smiles and, with Corvus Glaive, retreats. Captain America and the others head to the Avengers base to find Rhodey, and Bruce is here as well. Natasha, seeing the long-lost Bruce, is filled with overwhelming emotion. Bruce informs everyone about Thanos' looming threat and stresses that they must protect the Mind Stone on Vision's forehead. Vision says the only way to stop Thanos is to destroy the stone on his forehead, but Wanda refuses. After all, the stone is part of Vision, and destroying it would mean losing him. Captain America also disagrees with the idea. Bruce, however, has the most authority on the matter. After all, he and Tony created Vision together. He assures them that removing the stone will not harm Vision. Thus, they set off for Wakanda, the most technologically advanced nation, to remove the stone. Rhodey, ever the prankster, even plays a trick on Bruce.
Should we bow?
Yeah, he's a king.
Seems like I'm always thanking you for something.
What are you doing?
We don't do that here.
Meanwhile, in space, the Guardians of the Galaxy receive a distress signal from the Asgardian ship. By the time they arrive, the place has been reduced to rubble, with bodies floating everywhere. At that moment, Thor collides with their ship. The Guardians rush to rescue him. Thor tells them about his ordeal. Upon learning that Thanos is behind it, Gamora realizes the gravity of the situation. If Thanos collects all 6 stones, he can snap his fingers and erase half of all life in the universe. They must stop him, but Thor knows they'll need a powerful weapon to defeat Thanos, so they split into 2 groups. Thor, Rocket, and Groot head to the dwarf planet to forge the weapon, while Star-Lord, Gamora, and the others go to the Void to stop Thanos. When they arrive at the Void, they find that Thanos has already wiped it out. Thanos is interrogating the Collector about the location of the stones. Gamora, wielding a massive sword, charges at Thanos and attacks with lightning speed. Gamora struck fast and ruthlessly, successfully killing Thanos. However, she doesn't feel any joy, as Thanos raised her. As Gamora mourns the loss of her father, the real Thanos appears. It turns out that everything was an illusion created by Thanos using the stones. By now, Thanos has 3 stones in his Infinity Gauntlet. Gamora realizes she's been played. As she tries to grab her sword, Thanos traps her and immobilizes her. Drax, seeing Thanos, charges at him, but Thanos uses the power of the stones to rip him apart. And Mantis, hiding nearby, isn't spared. Star-Lord, armed with a space gun, demands Thanos release Gamora. Gamora, however, asks Star-Lord to kill her, faced with the love of his life asking him to do it. Star-Lord hesitates. Thanos, with a sneer, pushes Gamora's head toward the barrel of the gun. Eventually, Star-Lord gathers his courage to pull the trigger, but the gun shoots only bubbles. Then, Thanos took Gamora and left. At this moment, Drax and Mantis' bodies also recovered. Things were even worse for Doctor Strange. In order to get Doctor Strange to hand over the Time Stone, Ebony Maw drove countless steel needles into Stephen's body. At that moment, Tony was quietly observing from above, and the sudden appearance of the cloak startled him. Tony was furious. He never expected Peter to run in as well. At this point, they could only come up with a plan to rescue Doctor Strange. Peter quickly came up with an idea they could recreate the famous scene from Aliens 2. Just as Ebony Maw was torturing Doctor Strange, Iron Man appeared on the scene. Seeing Iron Man in his full suit, Ebony Maw barely took him seriously. Tony immediately launched missiles, blasting a hole in the ship, and Ebony Maw was sucked out into space. Doctor Strange fell out right behind him, but fortunately, Peter was there to catch him just in time. In the nick of time, Spider-Man's suit deployed its web claws, and they narrowly escaped disaster. Tony quickly repaired the ship. Afterward, Tony and Doctor Strange had a disagreement. Stephen wanted to return to Earth, but Tony disagreed. Ever since the Battle of New York, the name Thanos had haunted him for 6 years. He thought they should take the offensive and strike Thanos' home base, catching him off guard. Eventually, Doctor Strange agreed with Tony's plan. Soon, they arrived on Titan. As soon as they stepped off the ship, they were attacked by the Guardians of the Galaxy. The 2 sides immediately started fighting. Star-Lord captured Peter. Tony grabbed Drax. Star-Lord asked Tony where Gamora was, but Tony was confused by the question.
You don't want to tell me where she is? That's fine. I'll kill all 3 of you and I'll beat it out of Thanos myself, starting with you.
Wait, what? Thanos? All right, let me ask you this one time. What master do you serve?
What master do I serve? What am I supposed to say, Jesus?
You're from Earth.
I'm not from Earth, I'm from Missouri.
Yeah, that's on Earth, dipshit. What are you hassling us for?
So you're not with Thanos?
With Thanos?
After some communication, they realized it was all a misunderstanding. Thanos was their common enemy. After discussing, they decided to set an ambush and wait for Thanos to arrive, hoping to catch him off guard. At this moment, Doctor Strange used the Time Stone to travel into the future and saw 14,605 possible outcomes.
How many did we win?
One.
On the other side, Thanos brought Gamora to a prison cell, where her sister Nebula was being held. It turned out that Nebula had tried to assassinate Thanos and had been tortured for her failure. Thanos brought Gamora here to try and get her to reveal the location of the Soul Stone, to end Nebula's suffering. Gamora finally told Thanos where the Soul Stone was. Thanos immediately set off with Gamora to Vormir. The keeper of the Soul Stone they encountered was none other than Red Skull, who had been transported there after touching the Tesseract. Red Skull explained that to obtain the Soul Stone, one must sacrifice someone they love, a soul for a soul. Gamora laughed, thinking Thanos had no one he truly loved. But at that moment, Thanos shed a tear. Gamora had never imagined that she was the one Thanos truly loved. In Thanos' heart, he had always considered Gamora his daughter, and that was why he favored her. Ultimately, to obtain the Soul Stone, Thanos tearfully pushed Gamora into the abyss. Cut to Thanos waking up from the river, now holding the Soul Stone in his hand. Back on Titan, Iron Man and the others had already set up an ambush. As soon as Thanos arrived, Iron Man greeted him with a special gift. But Thanos, now wielding 4 Infinity Stones, easily neutralized the attack. Just as Thanos was about to strike, Spider-Man shot webs at his face, distracting him. Before Thanos could react, Drax lunged at him and slashed at his leg. With Doctor Strange's help, Star-Lord placed a powerbomb on Thanos. Taking advantage of the moment, Doctor Strange ordered the cloak to restrain Thanos' Infinity Gauntlet. Peter, moving between the portals, attacked Thanos, catching him off guard, but Thanos quickly recovered and grabbed Peter, slamming him onto the ground. Before throwing him at Doctor Strange, Thanos tore off the cloak and was about to use the Infinity Gauntlet when Tony bombarded him with firepower. However, Thanos, with the Infinity Gauntlet in hand, absorbed all the fiery blasts into the gauntlet, then released them right back at Tony. Just then, Peter shot webs to restrain Thanos' arm, but Thanos quickly broke free. Before Thanos could catch his breath, a spaceship crashed into him. Nebula emerged from the ship. Nebula went wild, relentlessly attacking Thanos, but Thanos was too powerful. With a single punch, he sent Nebula flying. Doctor Strange threw out his red energy tendrils, wrapping them around Thanos' left hand. At the same time, Drax charged in and latched onto Thanos' leg with all his strength. Star-Lord released an electric device to ensnare Thanos' other hand. Peter wrapped Thanos' body in webs. Tony rushed in, trying to remove Thanos' Infinity Gauntlet. Mantis dropped from the sky and used her powers to control Thanos' mind, forcing him to calm down. Peter immediately joined Iron Man in trying to remove the Infinity Gauntlet. Star-Lord demanded to know where Gamora was. Thanos seemed to be in agony. Nebula revealed that Thanos had taken Gamora to Vormir and never returned, meaning Gamora was dead. Star-Lord lost control and began smashing Thanos in the head. Thanos was jolted awake by the blows and broke free from everyone's grip. Enraged, Thanos used the power of the stones to pull down a satellite, and the group had to scatter to avoid it. In the chaos, Doctor Strange began his shining moment. He cast the astral projection spell, instantly creating countless duplicates of himself, leaving Thanos stunned. Doctor Strange then whipped out an electrical whip to restrain Thanos. Thanos immediately shattered the magic with the power of the stones. Just then, Iron Man swooped down, ready to take on Thanos in a one-on-one fight. To Tony's surprise, Thanos recognized him. Immediately after, Tony's armor launched several missiles straight at Thanos, but Thanos was tough enough to withstand them. Not giving Thanos a chance to breathe, Tony landed a powerful kick, then transformed his hands into heavy hammers. Thanos took advantage of the opening, ripped off Tony's helmet, but the suit automatically replaced it. However, Thanos still managed to punch Tony to the ground. Thanos unleashed a wave of energy towards Tony, who immediately conjured a shield to block it. Then, he spun around and charged at Thanos, landing a solid hit. This enraged Thanos, and he hammered Tony mercilessly. Tony tried to retaliate, but his energy couldn't match Thanos' strength. Tony summoned energy blades to stab Thanos, but Thanos easily caught them and countered by stabbing Tony in return. Facing this cosmic-level villain, Tony gave it everything he had, but he was still outmatched. As Thanos was about to finish Tony off, Doctor Strange hurriedly intervened, offering to give Thanos the stones if he spared Tony's life. Thanos, seeing the opportunity, agreed immediately. Then, Doctor Strange handed over the Time Stone to Thanos. With that, Thanos had collected 5 of the Infinity Stones. Now, only the Mind Stone on Vision's forehead remained. Thanos opened a portal and left. Tony couldn't understand why Doctor Strange had given the Time Stone to Thanos.
We're in the endgame now.
Meanwhile, in Wakanda, Black Panther and his team were struggling with how to remove the Mind Stone from Vision's forehead when Thanos' Black Order, leading an army of alien invaders, arrived. They decided to engage in battle immediately. The alien forces were willing to sacrifice themselves to break through the defenses. Despite some of them breaching the outer barrier, War Machine quickly took them out. But soon, they realized that the aliens were attempting to bypass the defenses and attack from the rear. If they succeeded, Vision and the Mind Stone would be in even greater danger. They had no choice but to engage the enemy at the front. Under Black Panther's command, the defense barrier was finally opened, and countless alien creatures poured in. With a command from Black Panther, the team charged forward to meet the enemy head-on. Captain America entered the fight holding the new shield that Black Panther had given him, but it didn't fully live up to its potential. He was struggling to keep up. Winter Soldier, now using a gun, was also fighting at a disadvantage. The others, too, were losing their strength against the wave of alien creatures. Bruce was pinned to the ground by a group of alien creatures, unable to move. At that critical moment, a brilliant flash of light descended from the sky, and Stormbreaker flew into the scene. Thor had arrived, accompanied by Rocket and Groot. The sight of Thor gave everyone renewed hope. Thor immediately switched to clean-up mode, leaping into the fray and unleashing a devastating attack that took down a large group of enemies in an instant. Rocket, armed with a machine gun, was firing away enthusiastically. Winter Soldier, seeing more enemies closing in, quickly pulled Rocket into a perfect tag-team maneuver. Thor wielded Stormbreaker with immense skill, showcasing his power. Just then, several giant rolling wheels erupted from the ground, charging toward Natasha. In the nick of time, Wanda appeared, using her powers to lift the wheels into the air. As more enemies poured in, Wanda waved her hands, causing the wheels to smash into a group of aliens, taking them out. However, Proxima Midnight launched a surprise attack on Wanda. Natasha and Okoye appeared just in time to try and stop her, but even together, they were no match for Proxima Midnight. In a desperate moment, Wanda used her powers again to hurl Proxima Midnight into one of the giant rolling wheels. While the battle was heating up, Corvus Glaive had sneaked his way to Vision. Vision hadn't yet had the Mind Stone removed, so he had no choice but to fight. But after only a few exchanges, he was quickly overwhelmed. Just then, Cull Obsidian arrived. In a crucial moment, Bruce appeared to help. Cull Obsidian immediately grabbed Bruce, and they both fell to the ground. With his giant scythe, Cull Obsidian severed Bruce's armor arm. Bruce, seeing this, called out for Hulk, but Hulk refused to emerge. With no other option, Bruce chose to continue fighting. After landing a few punches, he gained some ground, but with just one arm, he was still no match for Cull Obsidian. In a desperate move, Bruce grabbed his severed arm and attached it to Cull Obsidian's body. Meanwhile, Vision was in serious trouble, as Corvus Glaive's blade struck him. Just then, Captain America arrived to engage Corvus Glaive. They fought fiercely, but Captain America was quickly overpowered. Corvus Glaive grabbed Captain America by the neck, leaving him on the brink of death. Suddenly, a blade pierced Corvus Glaive's body. It was Vision, who had sneaked up behind him and attacked. At this point, Thanos had arrived on Earth. The Avengers rushed to stop him, but each one was easily defeated by Thanos. Only Captain America managed to hold Thanos' arm back for a moment, but it was ultimately futile. Vision knew that the only way to stop Thanos was to destroy the Mind Stone on his forehead. Knowing Wanda had the power to do so, He begged Wanda to destroy it. After much pleading, Wanda reluctantly agreed. As Thanos charged toward them, Wanda destroyed the Mind Stone with one hand while using the other to stop Thanos, ultimately killing the one she loved most. This stunned Thanos. However, Thanos used the Time Stone to reverse time. He forcefully removed the Mind Stone from Vision's forehead and placed it into the Infinity Gauntlet. Now, Thanos had collected all the stones, making him truly invincible. Suddenly, Thanos was struck by a bolt of lightning. It was Thor. Thanos quickly unleashed the power of the Infinity Stones. Thor threw Stormbreaker at Thanos, and to Thanos' surprise, even with all 6 Infinity Stones, he couldn't withstand the power of Thor's Stormbreaker. Thor thought that striking Thanos' body would be enough to defeat him, but Thanos told him it was not the case.
Should have gone for the head.
Thanos snapped his fingers, then left. With the snap, half of all life in the universe vanished, including many of the Avengers. The Guardians of the Galaxy were reduced to just Rocket. Doctor Strange also disappeared. Peter, sensing something was wrong, turned to Tony and turned to dust in his arms. Only Captain America and a few others were left, all looking bewildered and hopeless. At the end of the film, former S.H.I.E.L.D. director Nick Fury sensed something was wrong. He grabbed his pager from the car, but before he could do anything, he too turned to ash. On the pager, the symbol of Captain Marvel appeared.